Hello and welcome back to Trade Risks YouTube channel. I am your host, Evan Medeiros, and in this video, we're talking all things sector analysis and industry analysis, specifically in the charting platform of Worden TC2000. I'm going to show you how to visualize what's happening here across sectors. I'm going to show you some different layouts you can build, some different views that you can look at. And I want to show you my personal way to sort of analyze what's happening at a sector and industry level. We got lots to talk about in this one, so stick around. Okay, welcome to another Worden TC2000 tutorial. And if this is your first time on our channel, I do want to encourage you to check out some of the other videos for TC2000 if that's what you're in the mood for right now. TC2000 guides, tutorials, walkthroughs. We've got a lot more on our YouTube channel and on our website, thetraderist.com, along with some downloads and some cool things built for the platform. So definitely check that out once you're done here. But let's not waste any more time. Let's get into today's lesson. I want to start just talking really briefly about sector analysis more broadly and how it fits into a trader's workflow. More importantly, why it's important for traders to pay attention to and monitor. And I want to do that by starting off with our first layout that we have available for us already right now in TC2000. So if you follow my mouse up here to the file menu bar up here, and we go to the open factory default workspace selection, choose to save it or not. If you need to save your workspace, I'm going to click on no. This is going to open the factory default sort of workspace. When you first joined TC2000, this is probably what you saw. And I want to show you the fourth tab down here, which is called sector by year. And this one is a very cool layout that TC2000 builds and gives everyone by default. And if we just look at our top list up here, what this is doing and showing is the sector indices broken out by performance each year in the stock market. And I want to illustrate this point of the importance of sectors and finding the sectors that are actually working or performing strongly in the market. Because if we look at, for instance, 2022, I'm going to start with an extreme example, but if we go to calendar year 2022 on this list, you can see that almost every sector was in the red and pretty deeply in the red. We're seeing drawdowns here of 30 and 20% across a lot of sectors. But if we scroll down, we see one sector here in the green, consumer defensive, and then we see energy down here at 46%. It almost looks like a typo. Everything got hammered this year except for energy and consumer defensive, and energy was in a hell of a bull market. This is an extreme example, but it shows you an entire calendar year where if you were focused on the leading sector, really singular that year because there was only one sector working, it was energy. If you were focused on that sector as a trader, you could catch or allocate into that segment of the market that was actually working and hopefully sidestep a lot of the pain. If we go to, say, this year right now, we can see that it's pretty broad based. There are lots of sectors. Every sector is in the green right now at the time of recording this in July of 2024. But there's clearly a leader here. It's in technology. It's up 25%. And in fact, the next strongest sector is, 8% below it, and that's healthcare. But as a trader right now, intuitively, if you show me this slide, if you drop me on this planet and I knew nothing about what was happening this year, I already know that the hot stocks, the leaders, and the focus of the market where money is flowing is in technology and in healthcare. That's probably where I want to start spending my time scanning and looking for individual stocks and companies to outperform. Okay, so that is really just at a high level what we're doing as traders here and why we do this exercise. Let's talk a little bit more about this layout because I think this is an important starting point. This is pre-built. As you see, you've got all your years here. And in the second watch list column, notice that you have industries. You have industries which fall underneath the sectors. So if you think about the hierarchy here, sectors are your big broad-based categories of the stock market. It segments the market into the specific sectors that companies are within. Generally, there's 10 to 12 sectors depending on whose list you're looking at. In this case, TC2000 has 11 sectors. So they break it up with basic materials, industrials, technologies, right down this list. And then the industries are generally, there's hundreds of them. It is the subcomponent. It is what breaks up the sector into multiple industries. So for instance, if we click on technology, we can see all the different industries here. We have electronic gaming and multimedia. We have health information services. We have information technology services. We have software applications. We have software infrastructure. Right down the list, you can see that we are essentially categorizing this taxonomy of stocks as they're grouped in the industry. And generally what happens in stock market is that when an individual company is doing well, it typically is kind of bringing up the industry as a whole. If retailers are strong, they generally kind of flow together here. And that's where traders start to look for that momentum, and they look for that, sort of opportunity zone. So in this layout, we've got our sectors up here, we've got our industries in the middle, and then we have all the individual companies at the bottom. And this is super powerful because you can click on any of the individual sectors up top. And what you'll notice is the industries automatically update based on the sector that I'm in, and the actual stocks will update based on either the sector I'm clicked into, or if I click on an industry, now you'll see that the stock list down here will update based on the industries that I have selected. So this is a very cool way to basically take a look and visualize on a year-by-year basis what is working and what companies are potentially leading or lagging. Okay, so that's a really cool layout. It's built for you. I want to show you a couple of other ways you can sort of visualize sector analysis or conduct your sector analysis and research. So if we go up to the watch lists up here in TC2000 and we click on the watch lists, there's two pre-built watch lists, and we already just looked at them, that you can pull up. Sector indices right here, and if you click on that, you're going to see the same 11 that we just looked at. You're going to get a watch list that shows these 11 industries. And in this situation, we can see today's change value and the net change on the day. So we can visually right here just basically see at a glance, okay, what's working today? And if I look at my list here, we've got industrials, basic materials, and cyclicals at the top of the relative strength list for today. And I know that because I clicked on this little header here to sort the performance here of the individual sectors. So one thing you might want to do right off the bat is, if you had a layout, and let's just say you have your full chart layout here, you may want to open up the watch lists, click on the sector industries, click on the move button and move it right to the left. And so that way, once a day, perhaps after the market closes, or if you're looking at things intraday, you have this on the side and you're just visually kind of aware of what is working on the day. You're seeing that, okay, it's generally a pretty broad-based market today. Everything is green, and you're getting, really that leadership out of that basic materials and cyclicals, and right down the list we talked about. So that is a good way to at least start and be aware of the sectors that are working on the session. If you go back to watch lists, you'll notice right to the right of that, there's an industry indices. And if I click on that, these are the 142 industries that TC2000 curates. The cool thing about both of these lists is they are sort of actively curated. And so TC2000, if they need to make updates to the stocks that are within these lists, or as new IPOs happen and they get categorized, TC2000 is sort of automatically, keeping track of the sectors and industries here and making it up to date for you at all times. So that's what's really nice about it. And basically, again, you can see the same thing here. If I had industries on the side as a watch list, then I can easily see on the session that, okay, residential construction today, at the time of recording this, is in a monster uptrend. And I might want to look at some stocks that are in this industry. And how do I do that really quick? Here's a cool little shortcut is if you go up here to this little hamburger looking icon, right to the left of your time frames, and you click on this, you're actually going to get a list of the 24 stocks that are within this industry. And so then I can sort the list of stocks, and I can see that almost every single one of them is up 5% or more, except for two. And that explains the strength we're seeing in this industry. And I can just really quick click on the first one here, which is the top performer of the day, HOV. It's up 13.92%. And in fact, it looks like it's in the process of breaking out of a year-long range as we speak. Okay, so this is a very shortcut way of saying, hey, you know, show me what's happening on the sector level, the industry level, and then the stock level right in here. Okay, so really powerful, really cool, and very fast. Now, another thing you could do is if you really want to have sort of a research layout, what you could do is create a grid of charts that correspond to the sectors or potentially the industries, but that would be a heck of a lot of charts. So let me show you what I mean. If I click on charts up here and I just open up a what I call my Evan default chart, and what I can do is use the move button, move it in here. I could have also tabbed it in here, and I'm just going to do this. So I'm going to actually just duplicate the chart, move it, do it right in here. I'm going to duplicate this chart, and then I'm going to move it right in here, just as a quick example. But let's say I want to create a layout which has charts of the individual sectors. So I know in the top left, what I can do is type in SX10. That is my basic materials sector. And one thing to notice is notice how everything just moved to SX10. So that everything is plotting the basic materials sector. What you need to do is actually unlink these charts. Right now they're all linked to the blue to the blue symbol. And so now I just unlinked them. So if I move this to SX20, for instance, only this moved. So what I can do is, you know, keep that as SX20. This can go to SX10. This can go to SX30, right? These are just the symbols that TC2000 uses for their sectors. And what you can basically do here is put in some more charts. I can duplicate this some more. I'm not going to go through the whole exercise in this video because I think you understand the point. But you could create 11 different charts, put in all the different SX sectors, and then you could have a layout, and you could rename this layout to call it sector overview. And this layout could be a research layout for you that basically has all the sectors with the charts and then the watch lists on the left. And you can just do at a glance kind of see, oh, this sector is breaking out. This sector is breaking out. In fact, most sectors are breaking out. So, you know, that can inform your decision making or perhaps target your trades into a particular sector. So I think that's pretty helpful, showing the charts, showing the different watch lists. And some folks will kind of look at these SX numbers and say, Evan, I don't know what that is. I'm not used to the SX and the, you know, these types of symbols. I'm used to the SPDER symbols. Okay, so what we can do is, I already have it, but I'm going to show you how to create it too. Or actually, I could probably link it up in the description of this video. But as a personal watch list, I have the sector ETFs built out for me. And so in this situation, I think there's actually now 12, right? Or 11 SPDER ETFs. And you can put the SPDER ETFs, if this is what you're familiar with, XLY, XLP, XLE, if these are more familiar, they're basically going to get you similar, you know, end results. It's just that some of the stocks might be categorized slightly different, and then the way SPDER groups their stocks might be slightly different than the way TC2000 does. But generally speaking, they're going to be pretty darn close. And so you can use the SPDER sectors in a personal watch list like I've created. And in fact, what I'm going to do is I'll make this SPDER list available to you. You can actually notice that I created some custom watch list columns here, which a little goes sort of beyond the scope of this video, but I have little check marks here where if the sector is above a 50 SMA, it prints a check mark. If it's above a 200 SMA, it prints a check mark, and I have 30-day returns and 5-day returns. So what you could also do is, you know, just keep this watch list on the side of a layout. You could also use the SPDER ETFs in all of your charts if that's what you want to do instead. Entirely up to you. Just another way to essentially view the market, and quite honestly, both are effective. It's really just going to be a personal preference. So once again, I'll put this this watch list as a free link. You can import into your own TC2000 platform and get it really quick. And now I want to show you my favorite way to sort of view sectors and industries and strength across time. This is a custom layout that I've built. It is available on our website. I'll put the link in the description. It is a premium layout, but it's got a lot of cool features. It's similar to what we just talked about. Basically, in the top left, we've got our sector indices that we're familiar with. Underneath that, we have our industries, and then underneath that, we have the actual stocks. Now, on the right-hand side, in the top left chart, we have our sector. In the top right, we have our industry. And then in the middle here, big chart, we have our stock. And everything is linked up. And we have lots of cool custom columns. So for instance, in the sector indices up top, what I typically do is after the day is done, I'll still go down here and just sort strongest to weakest and say, okay, industrials are the strongest today. That's cool. Maybe there's something for me to do there. More importantly, though, I'm kind of usually looking at either a 5-day return where I'll click on the 5-day and say, okay, industrials are the strongest over the last 5 days, or the monthly. And it's typically the monthly I care more about because I'm more of a swing trader. And I see actually financial services are at the top of the monthly performance, and so is real estate. And so that might pull my attention. And if I click on that, I now have the industries down here. And I can do the same thing. I can start to curate based on industries and then ultimately do some research on some individual stocks. Now, there's a couple of other cool watch list columns we have built on here. So for instance, at the time of recording this, look at all of the 1-month highs occurring here in the actual sectors. There are so many sectors breaking out right now. There's so much that pretty much anywhere you're invested today, you're probably making money. And that's a wonderful day. And so right now it's not too hard to find a winning sector, but in most ordinary situations, you don't see these check marks up here all the time. And you might even start to see some high volume check marks come in when a sector is breaking out. That is super cool to me, and that definitely gets my attention. We also have the 1-month lows check mark when things aren't so hot. And these check marks exist for the actual industries. And when we get down to our specific stocks, we have different check marks because I tend to care mostly about how the stock is relating to its 50 SMA, its 200 SMA. Is the stock having high volume? Is it closing strong on the day? Look at this particular stock. So this is an interesting one because it's actually pretty weak on the day, and I can see that weak close check mark happening here. So this stock is underperforming on a strong session, and that gives me other context clues about what I may or may want to do with this specific stock. All right, so this layout, we call it our strongest and weakest stocks layout. It's kind of a hyper version of everything else we talked about in the first half of this video, but it's essentially a nice, neat, orderly, kind of coordinated layout, which really helps kind of streamline homework and helps you visually just kind of see what the heck is working. I love just coming on here and looking at, 3-month returns, what's working over the 3 months, what stocks are working over the 3 months, and maybe I even want to see strong 3 months and some weakness over the 5 days, and that'll help me sort of find a pullback into a strong stock or find a little bit of a dip that I can get involved in. That's kind of how I like to use this layout. And of course, you can set alerts and do all kinds of other fun stuff like build watch lists and essentially move on with your trading plan basically through this analysis. So I've got one more layout I want to show you. This is another premium layout that we have available for download on our website. This goes back to the beginning and looks at our sectors and industries as they are curated in TC2000. So basically, once again, the sector indices and industry indices watch lists. What I've done is curate them or combine them into a combination list so they're all in one sort of master watch list. And what I do is apply a set of scans to the overall indices of sectors and industries on the bullish side in green up here, and then the bearish side on red. So basically what this does, I typically look at this on a week by week basis. So I have a weekly chart up here. So for instance, there's 25 sectors and industries showing up in this list right now. And you can see that they make this list, they meet this list when they have a significant week, a breakout week, a heavy volume week, something notable from a price action perspective. So for instance, aerospace and defense, you can see we're getting a breakout to fresh highs here. That's why it's on the list. If we go down here to financial services, you can see again, nice, expansion in range, starting to clear out of this nice holding pattern. Industrials clearing up to new highs here. Healthcare, big expansion in range once again. So this is basically a curated way for me to just focus my attention on sort of a price action perspective on breakouts, high volume, significant moves to the sectors and industries that I should be caring about. And then once again, I can use this little hamburger icon here. For instance, if healthcare does have my attention and I say, wow, looks like some strong rotation, what I can do is click on this hamburger and once again, kind of pull up the individual stocks that are helping fuel this move. And the same applies on the downside. So there's only one sector or industry hitting our downside scan at this time of recording. And take a look at this. You can clearly see going in the total opposite direction. So most things are working right now. They're either bullish or strongly bullish and breaking out. And we've got this utilities, independent power producers are clearly headed in the wrong direction this week. Longer term, look, this is in a healthy uptrend, but right now, this week, this is not where some of the attention is. So I may want to, pass on it. All right. So this is, again, another cool layout that has sectors, industries with targeted scans applied to the specific top level sectors and industries. We have more videos on scanning. And again, you can download this layout on our website. I'll put a link in the description of this video. That's kind of the big, picture here of how you can analyze sectors, why you want to analyze sectors and industries, how you can do it with some free versions, which is basically TC2000's built-in sector by year. You can use their built-in layouts. Their built-in sectors and industries. You can also create your own SPDER watch list. You can create charts based on these individual sectors and industries. And then you have the more advanced kind of dashboard here that we've created, which is also, again, available if you are interested. So hopefully this video helps. What questions do you have about sector analysis specifically? Leave a comment below and hopefully be able to help you out. Don't forget, we have lots of other cool guides, tutorials on our website, and we also have more downloads on our website for TC2000. So thanks so much for joining. Hope to see you in another video. Take care.